Hey everyone, this video is going to discuss how to remember the eruption sequence for the primary and permanent dentition. So let's start with the primary teeth. We're going to use the mnemonic Children Love Mild Chocolate Milk. The dark blue letters represent each tooth. The C is for the central incisors, the L is for the lateral incisors, the first M is for the first molar, C is for the canines, and the second M is for the second molar. So one thing to remember in both the primary and permanent dentition is that the first tooth to erupt always occurs in the mandibular arch. So the eruption sequence for the deciduous teeth takes an alternating pattern between the upper and lower jaws. It starts off with the mandibular central incisors, followed by maxillary central incisors, and here alone the maxillary tooth repeats again. Maxillary lateral incisors. Then we go mandible, maxilla, mandible, maxilla. Here alone the mandibular repeats twice, followed by the last tooth, the maxillary second molar. Now if we go back to our mnemonic Children Love Mild Chocolate Milk, we can fill in the eruption sequence. So the first tooth to erupt is the mandibular central incisor. The second is the maxillary central incisor. Third is the maxillary lateral incisor. Fourth is the mandible lateral incisor. Fifth is the maxillary first molar. Sixth is the mandibular first molar. Seventh is the maxillary canine. Eighth is the mandibular canine. Ninth is the mandibular second molar. And lastly, 10, maxillary second molar. So another important factor to remember is the number 6. Both in the primary and permanent dentition, the first tooth to erupt occurs in accordance to number 6. 6 months for the primary dentition and 6 years for the secondary dentition. So this is the sequence of eruption for the deciduous dentition. The U and L represents the upper and lower arches. Remember the mnemonic Children Love Mild Chocolate Milk. So we have centrals, followed by laterals, first molars, canines, and second molar. The first tooth to erupt is the mandibular central incisor, which occurs at 6 months. The last tooth to erupt is the maxillary second molar, which occurs at 26 months. Again, both have the number 6. So let's take a tooth in between, the canines, which occurs at 16 months. All the 3 of these numbers have the digit 6, which will be a lot easier for us to remember. The rest of the teeth we can roughly guess, since we know the sequence and the timeline will be somewhere in between these 6 to 26 months. So this is how we can remember the eruption sequence for the primary dentition. So moving on to the eruption sequence of the permanent dentition, we're going to use the help of this dog. His name is MC. Take a look at this mnemonic. MC is lovingly pleasant. Playful canines make money. So the orange letters represent each tooth. MC is for the upper and lower first molars and the lower central incisors. The I is for the first incisors. The L is for the lateral incisors. P is for the first premolar. The other P is the second premolar. C is for the canines. M is for the second molar, and the other M is for the third molars. So as I said earlier, the first tooth to erupt occurs at the age of 6 years. So that's 3 teeth, the upper and lower molars, first molars, and the lower central incisors, they all occur at 6 years. After that, we're simply going to count to the number 12. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And let's add a range of 1 year for every tooth. So the upper and lower first molars along with the lower and central incisors occur between 6 to 7 years. The upper central incisors is 7 to 8 years. The laterals are 8 to 9 years. The first premolars are 9 to 10 years. The second premolars are 10 to 11 years. The canines are 11 to 12 years. The second molar is 12 to 13 years. The third molar alone is different, which is 17 to 21 years. So this is the eruption sequence for the primary and permanent dentition. It's actually a pretty easy topic if you can just go through it a couple of times. And it's very important for your orals and MCQs.